because we have been working with roadmaps, and like the first roadmap was to, one of the goals was to have the first generation of Gravitons. Now our second roadmap was to, we had some bullet points that we are going to go over in the call, and also if we are thinking of our third roadmap, it's also good to think of a date for the second Graviton training. So yeah, I think that the Gravity working group notes are in the Gravity channel. Yes, it's yeah, it's there. So everyone can open the document. I don't have an intro question for today, but we will have like a very participatory session. So like if anyone wants to speak something, I'm sure we will have the moment during the call. So yeah, in this call, the idea is to review the second roadmap of our manifesto. Am I sharing my screen? No. Yeah, here we have the Gravity Working Group manifesto. Yeah, and like for our first roadmap, we had like design the responsibilities, benefits, and requirements of the role of conflict managers, relate unwanted behavior to graduate extensions, design the onboarding, training, and rotation of boarding of this group of people, create a system to channel disputes, and connect them to experts. Yeah, we already have that. In the second roadmap, we said we were going to design and apply the gravity survey on our and other communities. I feel that we have like applied the survey, but I think that we still need some hacking sessions for analysis, and also to continue like asking other communities to do the survey. So yeah, I think that in this second roadmap, my idea would be to say what we have done and what we are lacking in these points. So yeah, one of the first points was to design and apply. Yeah, and to design and test an easy step-by-step process of gravity. That one we have it in a forum post. We have this forum post that like eased the step-by-step process of gravity and resumed it into 4 steps. So I think that is like a check for this activity. Yeah, we also made certain relationship with other communities, especially Giveth, One Hive, and Metagame. And this is something that we maybe are like still don't have like a framework for conflict, the 10 most common types of conflict, and a guide for the first interaction. So like how to handle situations as a graviton, and what are the code of conduct that they should like apply and respect as gravitons. So I think that these 2 points can pass on to the third roadmap, the one that we will be designing, because here is like our review session of the second roadmap. So yeah, I would like to hear what do you think that we have been about what we have been doing in Gravity. What of the bullet points from the second roadmap do you think that we should add and include into the third roadmap? And also, yeah, after that, my idea is make some sense making around what would be the best schedule for the next Graviton training.
Can I ask a question here, Juan?
Yes.
The Gravity DAO graphic that I included, I think in some way it does provide a little bit of a framework slash roadmap in terms of that. So um, would it be helpful to put that somewhere that we could use,
Yeah.
or could I put that in this document if you don't mind?
Yeah, please do it. Yeah, it's also a discussion that we are going to have at some point, and it's how are we going to organize as a DAO. And yeah, if that is identified as a priority, we can add it into this third roadmap. But I think that that is something that can be done a little bit after, because yeah, I don't want to add another layer of complexity over what the process that we are living right now. But yeah, please add that image here.
If it's not appropriate, I won't, though. Is what it sounds like.
No,
It's not.
do it. Do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So. mm,
And yeah, this how to handle situations as a graviton is a document that we haven't done, but for sure it's something that is going to be really important at the moment we start having like more and more gravitons, and also people who is like not much related to mediations, so like they can learn yeah, this.
Okay, it's added.
Okay. This is an idea that Durga has presented. Do you want to talk about it?
Sure. So the basic idea is, and this is still kind of a draft. The basic idea, maybe it'd be easier to see if, well, I guess everyone can see it. So the idea is developmental thinking helps to, well, the idea is that we're going to try to include as many things, right? And in many ways, in order to resolve conflict, you have to be as sort of radically inclusive as possible. So inclusion is in some way the ultimate fundamental resolver of conflicts. Uh, Manu and I were having this conversation just just yesterday, where we were talking about the moment you think of yourself as an individual, there are all these problems and potential conflicts that arise just from imagining yourself as an individual, and so then those things change if you sort of work your way around this thing. So the light and dark part are taken into a whole, so that's why the background has the sort of light and dark part to it, and accounting for both sides of that is important. You have to account for trust creation. So developmental thinking, culture as advantage is actually what we're all here doing, and I'm hoping that the wisdom of all of you guys talking about doing a cultural build to begin with will pay dividends. And I think that's the reason why I included it as this sort of top part, because that seems to me to be the massive thing that we're doing here in Token Engineering Commons that I think is better than any other DAO situation I've seen so far. I put the DAO to DAO diplomacy technical mechanisms there because there was a conversation between, well, kind of an email uh, notification thing between
Wait.
YGG, myself, Juan, and Jeff Emmett, I think, about their DAO to DAO technical mechanisms. So I kind of included them here. I don't actually know exactly where it fits, but and then Ostrom's principles, because there's always going to be commons, right? So if you're going to be inclusive, there's always going to be commons in between all of the identified groups which exist. So the groups then will have their own commons. There'll be commons in between. There's commons between individuals and groups and all the other developmental spiral dynamics groups, and in between all of the top, bottom, left, and right parts of the developmental quadrant setup that some of you might be familiar with. Ostrom's principles. We did a whole book club on that. I'm not going to go into that now, but there's 8 of them, and that solves the sort of tragedy of the commons, which really comes from kind of a colonized way of dealing with money. Rule Omega is really a matter of something. If you look up Rule Omega on Rebel Wisdom, it's actually kind of a place where you hold space to pull the signal out of all the noise. So for you, certain things might not be particularly helpful, but in order to kind of address the shadow side of this picture, we kind of have to hold space with Rule Omega. So then nonviolent communication also helps in terms of that to figure out how to perhaps find more signal out of the noise. The internal messaging management really is for the needs of individual DAOs and a thing that the Gravity Group as a potential DAO could offer to other DAOs. The human resources and onboarding, super interesting that it's we just had the conversation in the previous SoftGov group. This is actually something that I've had a couple of people ask about. Do you guys do human resources and onboarding? And I kind of included in there because I thought it might be a part of our Gravity DAO thing, but that might be out of scope of our conversation. And it's super important that we sort of figure out ways to transform conflict. At the end of this, for me, the principle D is the failure of all of these other things to create something, or the severity or the scope being so big, we may need to go into the ADR mediation and escalation into various processes at the end. So that's kind of the rationale behind all of this, and I'm super eager to hear anyone's feedback or whatever you have to say about that.
Yeah, for me it's super interesting because we are born in the TC, but we look forward to become a commons on our own, and it's like a DAO that provides services for other DAOs, and I also have this in human resources. I also want to have like, and I haven't like met a psychologist yet, like willing to collaborate with Gravity, but it would be really interesting to have like a psychologist and an expert in that area to like also give their insights around the working dynamics and like the workload and the context that we live in, that might affect also the psychology of the individual, and that affectation of the psychology of the individual can also affect or be shown in the in the collective, as a reflex of certain psychological needs or psychological affectations that can be something like internal, that it can be solved internally, but if it's not solved internally or if it's not diagnosed, it can like scale to become like a collective problem. So yeah, I love this framework you proposed, and I think that we are like going in a steady pace, but we are going and that we are moving in the right direction. So yeah, I think that we can jump. If anyone wants to say something else, we can also jump into the second question. That is like, when would be a good date to make the second Graviton training, to start like planning it, to start preparing it, like how many sessions would we like to have, like do you think it would be good like to start in the end of August or to start in September? We would need to have like a communication strategy, and also to drag some of the things that we didn't fulfilled from the second roadmap into this third roadmap. I think this guide for first interaction would be really good. And now that I remember, we did made some discussions around this with Santi, but yeah, maybe we would need to like round more the ideas and the document so that we can give like this document for to the Gravitons, so that they can answer all the questions related to how should they approach certain situations. And I can make like a quick round in this. I would say that I would like to start on the first days of September. The Graviton training. Why? Because like the HCC will end like on the last days of July, and maybe in August we will be like a little bit moved. And also, I think that it would be good to have some more hacking sessions to talk about like how many sessions would we want to have, how many facilitators would want to participate, like yeah, if someone wants to facilitate if someone wants to facilitate some of the sessions, please list your name or speak it out, so that we can also like divide the amount of work. Like yeah, I post myself facilitators. I post myself. I think I can lead 3 to 4 sessions. But yeah, I always love when there is participation from other people, because yeah, I don't like to be like the someone who is always talking, or that pretends that he has like some answers, and instead of that, I like when the knowledge comes from the collective, and there's like this complement between what we are strong and the other people is strong. So yeah. So how do you feel? Do you think that the first days of September, or do you think that doing this in August would be good? And how many sessions, and who would be the facilitators? I want to ask Livy if she wants to continue like leading one of the Graviton training sessions.
Yeah, I would love to host a session.
Okay.
Thank you.
I, how many did we do last time, Juan?
8 sessions.
Okay, so I feel like we could have done more sessions. It would have it and got more of like when Livy did the meditation. That was like really powerful. That was in Gravity, right? Or was that in something else?
Yeah, that was in Gravity.
And then when we did the like saving the world thing with the limited money, that was good too. I think that, and then if we could possibly in conjunction with the, so I mean, a dozen sounds like an awful lot, but maybe 10. And if we could maybe we could have like labs associated with it, where if there's like 20 or 30 people in the Gravity group, then we could break up and have like 5 or 6 people meet in labs to work through like role playing and exercises and stuff. I know I did a lot of I know it's hard to tell, but I did a lot of this with my kids homeschooling. Like there was it was Christian based, but it's broadly applicable to, being nice works everywhere. Like this course called Peacemakers and stuff. There's a lot of what seems like kind of like, it might seem like baby level conflict resolution stuff, but it's very useful, and it might help to find some possibly like already created material that is easily put into group situations and break up into labs, and work through the concepts that we're talking about in the main session.
Meta, can you share with me some of that documentation? Yeah, it would be good. I loved the workshops we had, and
Yeah.
I think we can do more and yeah, make them a little bit better too.
Yeah, well, now that we have more people that would be able to like facilitate the labs and workshops, right? It'll be a lot easier to do more of that. Yes, I will.
Thank you.
And are those, do you do them over different time? Is it always during a gravity call, or do you have like different times and stuff? Because I would love to participate, but this time is so hard for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm talking about like having separate labs. Like it'd be fun to have like so like in one gravity, like in one gravity group, there might be 30 people. You know, like when you're in a science class in college, I don't know, but they have like lab classes. Like you go to the lecture. I'm not calling gravity group a lecture, but then like there's a whole bunch of people can come to the gravity group, but then break up into smaller groups, different times during the week. That's your question. Yes, like pick times during the week to meet for labs and have it be additional time. And I mean, you could make it optional. I don't know, but I would find that really super helpful.
Cool. Thanks, Verde. And then Juan, like in general, how does it get structured?
We have the structure here, but it would be really good to like, yeah, make a review about all this and have some hacking sessions, because yes, it would be good if we can have it like this, like we have like each session, the readings that it treats, and some questions around it to also evaluate, and yeah, who would be the coach, so that yeah, we have all these very organized like in a study plan, and also to facilitate this information before the training, so that everyone can like have it yeah, on hand and be prepared about what we're going to talk.
I think it would also be interesting in this one to be a little more focused on the implementation that will happen after. So how can we start to prepare for like conflicts that might happen in the community? What is needed? What are people's limitations? And maybe have like a few sessions just to listen to people's needs and see like, okay, if some sort of conflict happens, what would you need to feel prepared to hold that space?
Okay, yeah, yeah. Maybe I also think that the first Graviton training was like a lot of had like a lot of theory and a lot of theories that are like, yeah, theories around conflict and like abstract concepts. But it would be really good if we can like say like, yeah, like give short like advices on how to prevent a conflict, and sometimes is just like reading once again or sharing what what you wrote with someone, if you think that what you wrote is sensitive, or like, yeah, sometimes we write something and we like hit send without reading it, and sometimes we have to read things like 3 times in order to foster nonviolent communication. Sometimes we want to say something, but just one word can like trigger misunderstanding. So yeah, like giving a lot of practical advices and how to handle when people is not like hearing, or is like they are being heated, how to sometimes avoid talking with someone when he or she is heated, and like giving some time. It would be really good if we can make it more practical to the DAO ecosystem. And also I think it's also important talking about signaling on time things. And I still think that people feels sometime like cohibited to like signal things. But the way we are going to improve is about like noticing what can be improved. And I think that we can like continue promoting more this kind of signaling. And what I have seen from this moment is that like people use the gravity type form when things happen, but there is like a very preventive use for the type form that can be like for preventing issues. And that is not being so much like used. It's used when something happens, but not like to prevent um, a situation that is just starting. So like foster more the use uh, of the type form, and also making it more visible.
So I think some of what we might want to accomplish might actually work to switch from a set graviton training thing to a something that we do on a periodic basis, like every 2 weeks we have a graviton training that people kind of commit to, and then we can just have it as a placeholder there. So and then to be in that, just to talk about some of the principles about being proactive, trust creation, some of this stuff that we're, preventative, and just keep having that come out of the mouths of a lot of people over time. I think might just help to move that, So rather than having a set sort of training, people can drop in and say, you know, uh, or sign up and commit to a course for a period of time, but then we can run different things like level 1 or level 2, that type of thing. So we might want to run level 1 again, right? And compress it down to a 4 times kind of thing. And then we, I don't know, we could do it weekly, and then we could do level 1 every other one, level 2 every other one, this type of thing. So just some thoughts. The more consistent we are about it, I think the better.
Yeah, I also think the same, because it wouldn't make any sense if we just make the same course once and like repeat it all over. Because it's not like that course has everything that Gravitons have, and we need a continuous education environment. It's not like, okay, you went to 8 sessions, now go into the war. No, it's like, okay, this should be like a continuous learning process. And there should be also, and that's something that I want, like like graviton calls. That is something that we haven't had until this moment, but like calls from gravitons to like advise other gravitons. And maybe, if I don't know, if a graviton from another community, like one hive or something, it's having some issues, then they can request support to gravitons from other communities. Or like also sharing good practices, if there was like some action taken around one community that can also help another community. It would be like a good sharing point between them. So
Hey,
like
Juan, if you don't mind, I'd like to comment on the type form real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Please.
But I was just going to say, one of the reasons, because I've thought about using the type form before as a preventative method. However, I it's kind of a black box when you're when you want to submit the type form, because you say, hey, I want to prevent this, but I'm not sure about the actions of what's going to happen on your end. And so in my mind, it was like, I don't want to escalate something that I may be wrong about. I'm just saying, I have an observation that I would like to put out there. And so like kind of having this like, uncertainty about the actions of the Gravity group or whoever is receiving my type form is something that prevents my use of it in a preventative way. And so I just wanted to throw that out there to contemplate.
Yeah, and make more clear the confidentiality. I also think, and this is something that I talked with the Give It crew, that it's not necessary that we have like one type form for all the communities. Like each community can manage their confidentiality the way they want to. And right now in the TEC, like only 3 people have access to the type form. So yeah, it's kind of confidential. And it, like actually I am the only one who is like actively reviewing the typeform entries, so it would like mostly come to me. But the thing is that there are other people that has like the password to that account, to the typeform account. So if they would want to, they can look at their answers of the typeform. But like I also think, and this is something that I should talk with those people, that yeah, they are not using the typeform for that case. It's like it's the common stack typeform account, and there are like a lot of typeforms that account manage, and like I only enter to the ones from Gravity. But eventually, when we have like our own organization, we could also use our own typeform or use another mechanism, because yeah, the typeform is just the input mechanism. But we could have another mechanism to foster that. It's yeah.
Thanks for that.
I also think that we can make 10 sessions if we like yeah, have it well organized. And I like the people who has like presented themselves to be facilitators, and I thank you. So yeah, it would be me, Didan, Durgadas, Livia, and Mount Manu. Do you feel comfortable with this? Like yeah, for me, I love these names, and I am sure that they can be really good to continue building new Gravitons. So I think that one of the next points would be to make a study plan, and I am going to make a document and share it with these people, so that like if Manu, you want to lead 2 sessions, please write like Manu, and like post some of the readings that you want people to read, and a brief description of the activity. And yeah, that way we can make the study plan for the sessions. I know that Didan is going to work NVC. Durgadas is leading the colonization and spirals.
Juan, you know that thing I made about how to conduct a generative course? Does it make sense to use that as a outline for generating our next course? I can put it in the document if you don't remember
Yeah,
what I'm
please.
talking about.
please put it. And Livia would be Ostrom's principles.
Do you think it would be good to have some type of advice process, or maybe not a voting, but some type of signaling that the sessions are ready to be shared? So like maybe that's a good practice to have some type of, not necessarily quality assurance, but like having harmony between the one session and another, and having the chance to bring inputs from the community.
Yes, for sure. Maybe what we can do is that once we have the study plan ready, we can share it in the forum, or yeah, advise it with the people in the community before like opening the training.
The next page,
Yeah,
by
I
the way.
think in the forum and advice process, it would be a good place. Sorry, Durgadas.
Oh, I was just sharing the, that thing that you work with me on, where we basically have this outline of a course, and then there are the three components where you have the curated material stuff we've already made, cross-pollination, which is that input from the community that Livy was just talking about, and then sort of we as sort of gravitons and or moderators, we would add to some kind of wisdom or unique perspective on top of the curation, and enable and sort of almost take from the cross-pollination and move it across to the curation. So this is like a cellular organism. So you have this outline, you promote it, you set expectations for it, create safety for people, and then during the course, it's kind of a thing between the moderator and the participants around cross-pollination, what's alive in us, and being engaged, and then what we discover out of it, then we document and process those things, and then we figure out the lessons from that, evaluate how we can take it into account, and then implement it, and then transform whatever it is that we're doing. So I kind of wanted to just share that just because it seemed relevant, maybe as an outline toward what is the way in which we're going to try to conduct the next gravity training.
Yeah, that makes completely sense. I think that the topics can be like the curation, the moderation can be who is going to lead those topics, and the cross pollination is also the signature that we want to give for people who is in the training. That is a space for sharing knowledge, and a space also for um, building not only gravitons from a cold point of view, but building a community of humans whose um, cultural influence over technology is directed to have a positive impact on the way we relate and use our tools. So yeah, I am going to make a document. I will share it. I will share it also directly with the people who posted their names here, because it would be really good to have this very polished and that we are very organized internally before launching to other people. And I also want it to be like in August or like in September, in the first day of September, because we would have all the month of August to promote it, and the ideal would be to have like a lot of people coming from diverse communities. Manu, and what would be the topics that you would be interested to talk about?
It would be new rhetoric or new rhetorics. It's a type of argumentation that springs away from the common conception of rhetoric as just hollow words meant to persuade someone, and more into a modern humanism that strives towards a plurality of meaning, and uh, social individual justice, freedom from oppression, and tolerance and privacy. Of course, it's going to be in the context of um, of gravity and peaceful communication. But yeah, it will be on new rhetoric.
Okay. So I would be hosting alternative dispute resolution, theories of conflict management, and one workshop around negotiation. Okay. Okay. Ostrom's principles and soft new rhetoric, plurality of meanings, freedom of oppression.
Could you edit mine and make it new rhetoric and cognitive biases? I really want to talk about the things that kind of like the bugs of our brain as a bioware that short circuit people connecting with one another, and they don't even know it. They don't know why they don't like the other person, and it's something in their mind that has been built over millions of years of evolution. That if they knew, then they will be aware that they're kind of biased towards not liking that person, and then anyway, new rhetoric and cognitive bias.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great training, and I'm happy with the people that has posted themselves to collaborate. And for me, it's super interesting because I feel that this is something very big that is coming, but it's also growing slowly. But like my ideal scenario is that in 2 years, like there are gravitons in each DAO. That would be amazing. Yeah, um, and there are clear processes around how to manage different situations, and who is the access point of each DAO in each DAO when there is a conflict, because I think that and I'm amazed that this what we are doing is still like the first steps, because from the other DAOs that I have seen, this is a topic that is not well enough treated, but we can also make a surprise, like when we are working with other DAOs, what can we learn from them? But yeah, the idea is that in 2 years we could have like gravitons in each community, and also that we can have like some cultural development done in the whole ecosystem, like fostering the use of NVC in all DAOs, and also like helping to promote even mental health. And it would be really good when we can also have more collaborators, because I also would like to make a lot of work around psychology, but like I am not a psychologist, but I think that there can be practices or signaling mechanisms that we can also identify for the collective psychology that we have, and also the individual psychology and process that each one is living. Okay. We are 5 minutes before finishing the session. Does anyone want to complement or something on something? First days of September. Are you good with that? If not, raise your voice right now because we are going to have the second Graviton training on the first days of September.
That's so exciting. So exciting.
I think that's really good. And then it'll end well before the holidays. So that's perfect.
I'll just voice concern again about the time of it. The days don't matter. It's more about the time.
How would the time work better for you?
That's such a good question because I'm CET. Well, honestly, because it has to be late. Well, this is very very late. It's like a little bit earlier, a few hours, or on the weekend, like Friday or Saturday, for example. I mean, I obviously would prefer a daytime myself. But I know that doesn't fit anywhere else in the world.
It's noon for me here on the West Coast in the U.S., but I could go for quite a bit earlier. And that would I could go for 8 a.m. and that would make it 4 hours earlier for you, Sugar. Where would that be? But I don't know what kind of space.
Yeah, that works.
And I don't know if it pushes out people in other time zones. I haven't got the globe yet.
I always recommend doodles for this sort of thing, and probably some forethought on prioritizing people that weren't part of the first. Obviously, prioritizing teachers, but also prioritizing people who weren't part of the first session, and just getting signals from outside of the call and from people who want to. We have a couple months to decide on time, so it's really about how much interest we get.
Well, thanks everyone. I'm super motivated because like a year ago, like making the training was like a dream, and now we are making the second Graviton training, and I am very proud about how Gravity is going and all the projects that we have. So yeah, thank you all, and I really hope that we can make this project something really big and something that can be used and can help every community in the world.
Awesome. Thank you, Juan.